So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I think we are a very few people out here. So you can definitely catch us offline also. But in the interest and the respect of the panel, I think we should start. So thank you so much, the fellow panelists, to join us on this session. Customer experience is very close topic to my heart. Before we begin and delve further into it, we'd like to introduce ourselves. So I am Udit Agarwal. I head marketing for Exotel. Exotel is a customer experience and customer engagement organization. We provide communication technologies for the companies to connect their customers with their companies. I would like to pass on to Ruben and Anamika and Kulin to talk about themselves a little bit.
Thank you, Udit. Ruhbir, I lead Tatvic, a MarTech entity based out of India, but we do have operations in different parts of the world as well. We mainly are a large Google partner to provide data continuum and data analysis services to unlock use cases around marketing, automation, use cases of AI, use cases of CX. And we use Google technology in terms of Google Cloud Platform, Google Marketing Platform, and we also use tools like MoEngage, VWO, Adobe Target to help you actually optimize the funnel of your customer onboarding and experience. That's how we position, and we work with most of the large BFSI and retail brands in India. And happy to take use cases in person later.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anamika Chatterjee. I have been working in BFSI for more than 15 years now, and currently I'm working with Hero Fincorp, and I'm heading their customer experience for the retail finance team. Here in this particular organization, our segment would be only retail customers, where customers are applying for their personal loans or used car loans, or let's say a loyalty based loan, or some other form of loan. And we do come across a lot of areas where we're trying and striving to create better and unique experiences for this segment of the customer, because this would be mostly from a tier 2 or a tier 3 kind of a you know uh, zone of our country. And creating an experience for these set of customers at times become challenging, but here we would be talking about this only. So I would be happy to share my insights. Thank you.
Nice.
Hi everyone, I'm Kulin Shah. I'm the co-founder at Onsurity. Onsurity is India's only SME-focused insurtech company. In fact, because we are a small group out here, how many of you work in a small organization or have your own organization? How big is your organization? 400 people, right? You're still a very large organization. We are 300 people organization. So what we do is basically small organizations which have 3 employees, 10 employees, 15 employees, they don't get employee health benefits. We are the only platform in India which has created health, wellness, and insurance as a monthly subscription pack. We work with about 8,000 businesses and have 1.5 million users on the platform today. And 80% of our customers are first-time buyers of health. And hence you can imagine what a big role CX plays, and because of which we have been able to retain close to about 85% of our customers launched to date, which is since 2020.
Brilliant. So thank you so much. I think customer experience, as we know, is becoming a central point for all organizations today. And I think with the experience economy, everybody is talking about experience. We travel, we eat, we anything that we actually consume today, experience become a very critical component as well. So on that premise, I would just like to begin with one common question to all of you is, customer experience is evolving. It's evolving very fast. But do you think it's still seen as a cost center in the organization? And how do you see the CX economics in your organizations with respect to revenue outcomes? So how do you align revenue outcome with CX? Is it still a cost center? How is that function evolved internally for the outcomes that you desire for your customers? So yeah, maybe you can start and...
I'll probably give answer to this from the lens of us working for an organization as a service provider to improve CX, and also same metrics apply to us internally as well. We also focus on CX heavily. For any organization, the main KPIs for CX would be their original business goals. Is this going to improve the LTV, lifetime value of the customer? Is this going to increase retention? Is it going to increase repeat purchase? Is it going to increase the net promoter score? Is it going to increase the customer satisfaction? Is it going to decrease the abandonment or cart abandonment or churn signals? All these metrics eventually matter all the time. The CX practice, the moment you begin, is basically improving the experience of the users who are entering the funnel or already are your customers now experiencing your product. Different metrics out of the few ones I mentioned are applicable at different stages of your customers. They become pertinent if you can land immediate delta through a CX experiment on your journey. For example, I can give an example. One of the e-commerce customers we were working with, they tasked us to find the main pain point because of which they had a huge cart abandonment situation. So we did an analysis of their funnel of users going through, and we found a pain point there that they have a very long form to fill before a user adds a credit card to buy, which is a point which is we realized we can do variations on as a customer experience improvement. We changed the form as a recommendation into a shorter form, more intuitive, like a type form. You answer one thing, the next question comes, and it is a shorter one. The overall questioning you need to do is 1/3 of this after that. And now the users are moving ahead, which increased the card purchase, reduced the retention, directly impacted the customer LTV. And this is a basic change in CX experience, but it is coming from the signal of doing a proper data analysis and then finding the main point, giving variations to change the situation. Winning variation will give direct delta to the business outcome, which actually lands to answering cost center's original question.
Thanks. Anamika, in your situation?
Yeah, sure. So Udit, I'll give a little background to how our organization has been operating. So Hero as a conglomerate has been operating in this ecosystem for decades now, as a conglomerate, And 11 years back, when they decided to get into the BFSI segment, they decided that, okay, we want to get into the financial segment or be part of the financial life cycle of any user, and we want to get into this lending segment, That's how it started. And I would say back in those days, which is like a decade old, as an organization, it still used to be CS, which is customer service, which used to be concentrated in one corner of the organization, that okay, we are doing some kind of servicing. So most likely a post facto kind of a situation where you have serviced or let's say disbursed a loan, and some issue happened, and then the customer is coming to you for a resolution, and you're just operating on those lines, right? But I would say that I have been part of this organization for almost 3 years now. And why I was introduced to this existing CS as a unit, because they wanted to transition from CS to CX. That's the background. So the organization wanted to transition to a stage where they're able to create that experience for the customer and upskill the entire workforce, or I would say elevate the thought process of the entire unit, where collectively they are thinking about creating an experience. How that happened was, I would say before COVID, or let's say till to 2020, when COVID actually hit the entire universe, entire globe, people were operating mostly through offline processes, and they were very limited digital processes. Now, it all happened in a jiffy, that okay, on a day scale or let's say a week's basis, everything changed, and the process started, I would say, getting into more and more of digitization. As an organization, we have taken a stand to digitize most of our processes to reduce on the turnaround time for a response. So what happens in a digital, in a lending situation, the pain points of the customer lies when you're trying to disburse the loan, and there is a phase when the customer is just waiting for the loan to get disbursed. He has no communication, no transparency as to what's happening, you gave me all the documents, I have collected the documents on behalf of the organization, then I say, okay sir, आपको 7 दिन में जवाब मिल जाएगा. What happens after that? So that guy is never going back to the customer because he was just one leg of the entire journey. Then that communication never transferred from leg 1 to leg 2, or let's say to the last mile of the funnel, you know. And this created a lot of ruckus in minds of the customer. And being in BFSI, the first and foremost things is gaining the trust, building that, and constantly leveraging that to create yourself as a brand, because Hero as a conglomerate has established itself as a brand way back, but in financial domain it had not established immediately after getting into this segment. It took years for them to establish that, okay, we are also there in this BFSI market, you know. And right now our endeavor is that in each and every transaction, in each and every interaction that we're trying to strike with the customer, we're trying to have it, we're tracking one metric, which is FTR. In a normal call center environment, we call it first time resolution, but as an organization, we call it first time right. We don't want the customer to come back to us again and again for the same query. He might come back to us for multiple queries, you know, but if he has to ask me that when will my loan get disbursed, that answer should be given to him right at the beginning stage of taking the documentation, giving him a tentative timeline, you know. And all of these, so the biggest change that we as an NBFC have observed is digitization of the entire loan disbursement process. You know, earlier it was completely offline process. Now we do have an app which is very similar to all the other apps that we have, you know, through which the customer applies for a loan, and then each and every stage of that journey tells him what is the next step and when will he finally get the loan disbursed. So I think from CS to CX, you know, there has been a huge transition that itself tells the I think the thought process of the organization, that it's not any longer believing or want to believe that customer service is just a cost center, but they have realized that if you do not focus on servicing, if you do not focus on creating an experience, you will be actually losing the customers. You know, there'll be no customer who will be walking to your door asking for any line of service or any product. Then whom will you service?
Makes sense. Completely.
Right?
Completely.
Yeah. So I think when we started off Onsurity, right, we realized that, and we have some new folks in the room out here. Anyone who's bought any insurance out here, motor, life, health, any insurance have you guys bought? Like, let's put it up out there. We all, okay, some of us have taken. Anyone who has put in a claim?
Of course.
Yeah, you guys have put in a
Not
claim?
life.
Right? Not life. Now, one of the biggest pain points is the fact that when you go to claim, right, that's the moment of truth for an insurance sector, right? And that is one of the most broken experiences, right? And if you go with the mindset of saying the customer will reach out to us and we'll give them a response, right? That's not what we wanted to build, because we realized that this is exactly the reason why an SME does not want to buy any kind of an insurance, because they will never get the the moment of truth or the claims part of it. And that's why we kind of created 3 layers for CX. We said, if you look at NPS, CSAT, CES, right? That's like we put this in the same framework of a sales guy, right? That's the top of the funnel, right? That is your customer service, right? That will say that, what is it happening? Then you have middle of the funnel, right? Which is basically an outcome of that, which is churn, right? Revenue retention, right? That becomes a middle of the funnel, which is an outcome of what you've done on the top, right? And then what comes down below is your two very important things, that is lifetime value, right? And lifetime value divided by your CAC, right? Because that is actually the return, right? And that is CX, right? If anyone who goes into the organization and says, case, I'm just going to replace the CS with the CX word, right? That's only a nomenclature change, right? I don't know how many people are from the HR space out here, but we recently have started seeing people, HR people, calling themselves people and culture, right? A lot of people have started calling them people and culture. But are you just changing the nomenclature, or are you really going to be focusing on people and culture, right? Same way, right? CS is a cost center because there are people and they are responding, right? CX is a profit center, right? Because that's where I see retention. That's where I see upsell, cross sell. That's where I see the most important thing is the fact that word of mouth, and especially from an SME perspective, right? CX is actually the generator of leads, right? When it comes to word of mouth.
I completely agree with you, and I think very interesting points. I think Ruby, you talked about acquisition, you talk about CS to CX journey. You talk about retention, NPS, very critical components of CX. In fact, I'm a core believer. I buy product or a service basis an experience today. I don't want to name anything, but I fly an airline basis the experience I get before, during, after, right? I choose an hotel. I in fact choose my employment, and I think a lot of people do. They say that, hey, I want to talk about employee experience. Want to check the Glassdoor ratings. Want to check about the Google ratings, and we want to make a choice whether we want to join that particular organization or not. I think experience is all around us, and it's very, very important. It brings up to another thought which is traveling in my mind is also about the volumes out there, because all of you are largely in a B2C space, mostly. So consumers are humongous. Their journeys are intertwined, right? And I had a personal experience sometime where I am one customer, but I'm treated very differently when I'm buying a product. I'm treated very differently when somebody's trying to sell the product in the sales journey. And I'm treated very differently when I'm actually having a post-sales purchase scenario, which you actually touched upon the claims part of it. And how am I treated across all the journey? The only journey that I remember is that when I am become a customer of a particular brand, how well I'm treated, how well I'm remembered, right? The personalization part of it. I'm very scared about losing my own data to customers, right? How my privacy is taken care of. So all of these things becomes very impossible to look at with manual processes. You touched upon, Anamika, in terms of the bringing a lot of tech digitization part of it. I want to touch upon this area, right? What is the role of AI and technology today that you see changing the way you will deliver customer experience? And are there any metrics that you're going to measure with that technology in place? So maybe, yeah.
I'll give actually 3 use cases which we actively are working with different customers on. First is you probably are already experiencing is 24/7 customer support through a custom chatbot, which no human scale can actually provide 24/7, very high speed, always alert, very personalized experience. So that is already happening. And the top use case of AI is to have a service agent which is 24/7 giving you refunds, reasoning well, giving right prompts. First use case, probably industry leading use case right now, which is super practical. Second is the A/B testing of any stage of your mid funnel and post funnel. If there is a cart page where the product is added, you can actually do 100 variations of that cart page depending on where the person is coming from. If the person is coming from different state, the language, the color, the context, the flow, the sequence, the elements, all of them can be rearranged in real time by use case of A/B testing tool. And AI is intelligent enough to build a pattern that looks like people in north prefer a different color, and in south is a different color, which is a bias that location ethnicity carries. You can let AI take over, use that bias to just make people move through intuitively in the funnel. That is at scale, which is at volume scale. Right now, we do see use cases happening. Third is experience while the user is actually about to buy. You will probably hear the same use case. Entities call you. Are you looking for something on the page? Probably you would have experienced in many of the players. You're trying to look something 5 minutes later, if you have exited the page, the call comes. Are you looking for something? And the call is connected from the page, and on the page, whatever you were doing, a pattern or a scroll or a frustration, that nothing is working, I'm not finding what I'm supposed to find, you exit. But the call center guy is alerted with some context that probably this category, probably this shirt or this particular product combination, you couldn't complete your purchase. The person calls back with the context which is created by AI, with the specific questions that he should be asking you to give you a recommended product to go back and complete the journey, other than just the WhatsApp alert to complete the journey. That is three use cases which is practical today, is already happening, I would say.
Great. Anamika, do you see any AI and automation playing a huge part in the Hero FinCorp journey?
Yeah, Udit. So as I mentioned earlier, that we have been digitizing our customer service, or let's say our experience processes. So we have multiple modes of communication with the customer. So while we have a dedicated toll-free number, which has a lot of people who are taking calls and supporting their queries through the emails, we also have a WhatsApp channel which is 100% automated as of now. We have not put in any, human team to work on the WhatsApp queries, because we have aligned our set of concerns or set of queries in WhatsApp funnel in that manner, which can be handled automatically. So this is one thing. We've also introduced chatbot, which has also been designed in the similar manner so that we do not have to deploy people to handle those, workflows. Why we are trying to, we're not saying that we do not need human team. I am 100% an advocate of saying that we would need human teams and we would need human intervention to manage all these experiences. However, at the same time, like we just discussed, that we cannot have the similar kind of support being offered to the customers 24 by 7 plus. You also have certain concerns. So the human team would have a different kind of moods, different kind of disparities throughout the day. The bots, the WhatsApp channels would not have that. So what we have started doing is, through these technologies and introduction of these kind of modes, we have been actively sending out communication to the customers, so that if you need these kind of queries to be resolved, please get it routed through WhatsApp or chatbot, because that becomes easier. So let's say if I just have a requirement of a statement of account, I don't need to speak to a agent, I don't need to walk into the branch to get it given to me. So I can just go to my either of these kind of channels, and I'll get it downloaded and I have it at my disposal. I don't need to spend those 5 minutes or 3 minutes even on the IVR. So we have also, revolutionized our IVR in the last 3 years, and we are actively tracking the traction and the penetration through the IVR, because earlier it used to be 100% human-led team. Now the number of calls which we are receiving from the customers are distributed. I would say 40% of them are being handled by the IVR. So that's a huge jump from where we started. So all of these things are collectively aiding us give a resolution to the customer in the stipulated time. We have a human team, we have an IVR which is taking 40% of the pressure, so we don't have a vast, let's say a 200 or a 300 seater call center. We have a limited number of people who are taking the calls. IVR is there, WhatsApp is there, your chatbot is there. We're also looking forward to automate few other channels, so that we do not have to again 100% be dependent on the humans to screen through all the emails or communications which the customers are doing, and we're just trying to deploy some kind of bot over there which can automatically read the communications and accordingly segregate into whether it is an escalation, whether it is a normal query, or what is an automatic response that I can give to the customer. At the same time, also take care of the fact that it should not be giving an impression to the customer that every time I'm getting the same response. So for example, it's a very common auto response that we get, that anytime you send an email to any of the service provider, you'll get an auto acknowledgement that okay, your query has been received, this is the registration number or the case number, blah blah blah, right? But every time if you're sending a communication and each of your interaction is generating an auto response, is also something which is not viable, which should not happen in the process. So while we're trying to automate a lot of our processes and stages of these processes, we're trying to be very cognizant so that it does not give an impression to the customer that now everything is automated. There is nothing that we can reach out to the humans for, you know.
Oh, very well said. I think I love 2-3 parts here. One, you touched upon speed of resolution.
Yes.
Second, you very well touched upon the balancing the human and AI part of it, right? And third, you touched upon the empathy part of it, right? Everybody needs to be taken care of the way they need to be. Uh, how many of you actually hate IVRs? Everybody, right? I hate IVRs, by the way. But we have to go through them. And this is the industry trend, by the way, and I'm borrowing some of the use cases that you spoke of. I feel that IVRs would be dead next 12 to 14 months. I don't think so IVR is going to be there. AI will take over. You dial the number, straight away somebody will answer you. And who's going to be answering you is going to be the AI agent. The agentic AI, the part is taking so much that you will not really know whether you are talking to a human guy or an agent guy. So literally, I try and reach out to IVRs and I want a hack. I just press one English and just press 0 and 9. Then let's see if I get to the agent. If it doesn't, I said, oh, they've changed their IVR menu. Let's see what get me to the menu. And I speak to the agent. What if they just, I call the number and say, hello, hi Udit, how can I help you? Is there a way, I know you just called me right now. Beautiful, isn't it? I think that's level of personalization with training the bots to deal with what they can will reduce pressure on contact centers and I think deliver CX unprecedentedly, right?
Udit, I would just like to add one use case, not pertinent to our industry, but I read it a month back. So there's an organization which is prominent in the e-commerce segment, you know, and they declared it that they have now gone 100% on the bot calling process, you know, and they have removed the complete call center for, let's say, you know, X number of people. Now, as a CX leader, I just want to, you know, raise this question. I don't want to question the intent of the decision which has been taken, but I just want to question the outcome which has been received after taking this decision, because measuring the outcome is extremely important. It's very easy to decide and put a process in place, right? But what is the outcome? Maybe I took a wrong decision as a leader, even after spending more than a decade in the industry. It could be possible, because what you're talking about is that, okay, it is an assumption that AI bots will come in and they will replace humans. It is an assumption that IVR will completely fade away. Similarly, somebody would have decided that let's put everything on automation, let's say through an AI bot agent only, but did it actually work out? Is something, the outcome should be declared as well.
Very well said.
Right?
Very well said. I completely agree with you. Kulin, what the points from your end?
Yeah, I think we are time opposite. Okay. Okay. I'll just quickly wrap this one up.
Okay.
See, for the question that you asked, right? I'm going to actually expand the definition of CX out here. Right? We are still talking about, you know, post facto, post purchase, right? Now, when we talk about AI, we need to kind of define that anyone who is talking to the customer, right? Be it your, right from being it your ads, because that is also customer experience, right? The person who's talking to the customer is also, that the salesperson or the business development person is also delivering customer experience, right? And at Onsurity, what we've done is that we've started measuring customer conversations, right? Because conversations lead to experience, right? And we've realized that at that point itself, right, how do we kind of either enable our people, right, or enable our systems to deliver a much better experience, right? So, for example, if it's an SME, right, in the manufacturing space, right, the kind of communication that will be generated will be very different from a person who's running a startup and is in the, you know, technology space, right? We actually will start seeing that this kind of an you know, AI, आपको जो बोल रहे हैं, you know, tools, right? are actually going to be helping you to do personalization. This is purchase journey. Uh, let's talk about, I'm going to quickly come to claims, right, and engagement. A large organization's needs are very different from that of an SME, right? And your AI will be trained, right? Basis the kind of claims that have come in, the basis the kind of people who are working in that organization, right? That's the time. That's how the whole conversation will be, dictated. I think what will happen is that AI will replace some part of the workforce, but not the entire part of the workforce, because it will make the current workforce more productive, right? Earlier, we had so many people working in factories. The machines didn't go do away with them, but they just increase the productivity. And that's exactly what we'll start seeing. We'll see super specialized niche companies coming in, right? And you'll have multiple such companies, right, delivering a very exact set of value because of the productivity that they can generate out of a single person.
Completely agree with you. I think in the interest of time, I'm just concluding. It's very beautiful insights, and one of the insights, Kulin, that I borrow from you is context is the King Kong here. If you engage with a customer with a context, and your ability to read conversations is beautiful actually, because what we all know is the series of communications. CRM is a system of records. It will tell you what has happened at what date and what time, but it will not tell you what has been spoken and discussed. And if there is a technology which actually goes down there, reads it, understands it, goes into the conversation, call data, and say, hey, this has been a conversation between Udit and Kulin, and build out a sentiment out there, build out an intent out there, engage with that customer with that level, and if you train the bots to do that, I think this human and AI harmony gonna be very beautiful.
There are already solutions and that we have implemented, by the way.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. Beautiful. I think you talked about speed of resolution and some of the use cases. Wonderful, Ruby. You talked about acquisition journey. So thank you so much for joining us this panel. It's been a truly wonderful in terms of the insights. So thank you, audience. In case if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so very few of us here. It's a very small group. So feel free to engage and connect with us during lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.